Well, we did say we were going to stay on the leadership question here on Sunrise Daily, as well as even the prison break. We still haven't heard from the PRO. He promised midweek, today is Thursday, we'll stay on all of these issues. And yesterday the count was 240 days. We haven't seen our girls. And today we're going to look at those two main issues, the leadership question as well as the issue of our girls still not being found. Joining us to look at those issues, the former Minister of Education and co-convener, Bring Back Our Girls, Oby Ezekwesili. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Suleiman.
We're counting as 241 days. Yesterday we had Benetta Diop of the African Union speaking with us from our Abuja studios, and we just realized how much of pain it has become for everyone. Initially we thought mothers, but now fathers, brothers, sisters, and even the continent and the world are still asking the question. 241 days is not too far from 365, if you ask me. How does that explain what effort we have put in the search for our girls?
Well, the best way to consider an effort to be successful is for you to achieve the outcome intended. The girls were abducted midnight of the 14th of April. In abduction cases, it is often said that you had the highest probability of a successful outcome in rescuing the targeted person or the abducted person within 48 hours of response. We did not do 48 hours of response. We did not even acknowledge that girls were abducted, and that acknowledgement didn't happen from our own federal government until about 19 days after, which meant that whoever took these girls had sufficient time to have had almost built a stronghold around the girls. So we're looking at 241 days after, and many false narratives that have followed the matter of the rescue for these girls. We assess the rescue activities around these girls, and we frankly do step back and say, what kind and manner of ineptitude has occasioned or has attended the rescue of these girls. When you consider 241 days in the lives of 291 vulnerable young women, and you considered
291 or 219?
219 girls. Thank you very much, Maokwe. 219 girls. It just makes you wonder what happened to us as a nation. Really, the Chibok girls have become a symbol for a very deep scrutiny of what we represent as a people.
You know, does it also worry you and bother you? Because I talked about what we have seen in on our Twitter handle. You also are very much in the social media. You must have been following discussions and questions people have been asking. And one main question is the rampancy of female suicide bombers now. It's scary when people try to connect it to our missing girls.
You know, the fact is, even if the female suicide bombers are not part of the Chibok girls, it should still scare us, because what it portends is a potentiality for any girl child in the hands of these brutal killers to become a tool for their very heinous attacks on our nation. I, as a mom who's totally engaged on this matter, and I have been, you know, contrary to the false narrative that some of these guys or some of these fellows continue to try to propagate. From the very beginning, on the 15th, when the news broke, they were abducted midnight of the 14th of April. But on the 15th, in the afternoon, the news broke. Through on my Twitter line, I saw the BBC reported And I thought, this is strange. How can they, because at that time they said over 100 and something girls abducted from a school in Borno State. I thought, this is not possible. Then I said, wait a minute, it's BBC. So BBC has a quality control standard that would not make them rush to put out anything of this kind. So I tweeted and I said, are there people in, who can validate that this story is real? And then some responses began to come. And all through that day, I spent time on the matter of these girls. The next day, I spent time calling attention. I was escalating so that people would follow this news. So as a mom, I've been completely engaged on this matter because 59 boys were killed, brutally slaughtered at the Federal Government College, Broni Yadi, in February. A few women, God bless their souls, came out dressed in black and tried to call attention to it for one day. And then, end of story. Up until today, we have no idea who did it, what happened to the parents of those children. Did anyone give them any answers? We can't have a nation that moves on. So when this happened and I saw that news, I picked on it and I said, we can't afford this. If we allowed these fellows to redefine our nation for us by saying that every child who turns up in the school system is essentially forced to make a decision between staying alive and acquiring knowledge, for me, I thought this is sacrilegious and totally unacceptable. So on the basis of that, my voice has been out there on the matter of these girls. Now, when you talk about, people and their perspective on the girls, remind me again what the principal position of the people you were asking me for was.
The principle of what?
No, you were saying that people on social media...
No, asking the question about trying to link it with what is happening, the rampancy of suicide bombers, female suicide bombers.
Yes, but my question back is, even if we did not have female suicide bombers, we should all be aghast at the fact that our girls are missing for 241 days. Now think of it. Some of the people who are linking the Chibok girls' abduction to the growing number of female suicide bombers are not speaking now on the basis of the vulnerable girls. It is because, they actually might be a source of danger to us. Well, that's a collateral. But the principal thing for us as a society is that we cannot be comfortable with terror that makes any of us victims to those that as a nation state and as a people we could stand together and confront. This attitude of it is so far removed from me, therefore it really doesn't matter that much, but because girls are now suicide bombers, and it might mean that we would see more incidents of that, and therefore I could be a victim, that attitude is not sufficient.
Is the demand or the cry for the return of our girls dying?
It is a call for their return dying? Of course, you see so many people who have moved on, and many people who never wanted any cry for the girls, who actually shamelessly say, nobody is talking about the Chibok girls anymore. Sorry, people are talking about the Chibok girls. Even if one voice should remain talking about the Chibok girls, the universe will escalate that voice.
Now,